What Carter's going to go over is the number one way people get into your stuff is through uh, passwords, not just passwords for email, though they get in your email, then a lot of other things happen. Um, but passwords are really, really important to be secured and to have a secured formula. Now, I'm going to say something. I like this formula. I no longer use this formula. I use LastPass. Uh, was it RoboForm's another one? There's another one too, and I can't remember the name of it.
Yeah, one pass. I mean, there's a lot of different
One
ones.
Pass is one Jonathan uses.
Yeah, that's a Mac only product, but
Yeah.
LastPass and RoboForm work on either platform. Yeah, that's true. This is a platform that I'm sorry, a formula that we used just at the beginning of our business because we needed to make absolutely sure that our employees were creating secure passwords for systems that they accessed, especially if those systems contained sensitive client information. So that was just a requirement for working at Spark Marketer was that you learn this password formula, adapt it, for to make it personal for you, and then never veer from it. So the idea of this password formula is to give you a secure password for every single website that you use that's different for every website. So you're going to use this formula to create a unique password for the site that you're on and never use that password ever again for any other website because of the formula making it unique for that particular site. And you never have to remember a password if you remember your formula, because this formula will tell you what the password for the site should be if you follow the password formula. So um, okay, so I will say that there are other ways now to create even better and more secure passwords and not have to remember those tools like LastPass, and I'll go over those at the end. But this is still a really good idea, so that if you don't have, if your employees are logging into systems and things like that, you can teach them this formula, and at least they'll create passwords that are, more in line with like, if you see those password strength formula or password strength bars that tell you how strong your password is, this pretty reliably will get you up into like 80s and 90% secure. So for most websites, this is plenty. But the idea is that you want to use symbols. So that would be, symbols. Any symbols work most of the time. You want to use uppercase letters, and you want to use lowercase letters. Oops, I had caps on. You want to use lowercase letters, and then you also want to use numbers. So some combination of all of those things need to be present in your password. So here's what we do. The formula is this: you choose two symbols that you want to use in your password. Okay, just two symbols that are going to be the ones that you go to every single time. They could be, you could bookmark them like this. Use those two symbols. You could use a dollar sign and a percent sign, whatever symbols you want to use. And we'll just leave the dollar sign and the percent sign here. Okay, you're going to use one at the beginning of your password and one at the end of your password. And in the middle, you're going to look up at the website that you're on and use some characters from that particular website domain. So up here, it's a little bit hard to see, I know, if you're especially if you're on mobile, but we've got the URL that I'm on and the address bar of the website. Now, there's a whole lot of gobbledygook here. We don't want any of that. We're just primarily concerned with what comes right before what we call the top level domain, which is the .com or the .net or the .org or the app, or whatever it may be for that particular site. So it's just this part here that is, in this case, Google. Okay, we don't want anything in the beginning here, just that part that's just to the left of the .com or the top level domain. That's the actual domain address that you're using. So in this case, it's Google. So we want 2 letters from that, and you're going to decide for your password formula. Are you going to use, you're going to count in 1, 2, and then use the next 2 letters? Are you going to take the last 2 letters? Are you going to take the first and the last letter? You get to decide what letters you're going to take. But once you've decided on that formula, you're going to use it that way for every single site. Okay, so for this case, let's skip the first one and use the next 2, which is OO. Okay, so right here in the middle, we're going to use OO. Now I need to use lowercase and uppercase letters. So the first the first letter is always going to be capitalized. The second letter is always going to be lowercase. Okay, now we need a number, and it's a good idea to use 4 numbers. Okay, just think of it like your personal password formula PIN. Now, don't use your bank PIN for this. Okay, please don't use your bank PIN for this. But choose 4 numbers that you're always going to use for this password formula, and then put them in there. And just for kicks, we're going to say 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, be a little more original than that. Come up with a.
Don't use 1, 2, 3, 4 though.
Okay, so I'll use 3, 2, 1. 4, 2, 1, 3. All right.
There you go.
Okay, so that's my for this example, that's my password formula PIN. All right. So now I've got 4 numbers in there, but I need 2 more letters, and we've already used an uppercase and a lowercase. I'm going to use another uppercase and lowercase. But how do I figure out what letters I'm going to use? Well, we call this the letter inflation part of the formula. Okay, so you're going to take these 2 letters that you've already entered, and you're going to inflate them by some amount of a number. So let's say 3. Okay, so an O, if I count 3 more positions in the alphabet, an O would become PQR, right? So the next letter would be, and then an O again would be PQR. So we have a little bit of repetitiveness here, but let's just say this was an E. Then this one would be FGH, right? Because I'm counting 3 positions in the alphabet. So now I've got 2 unique letters that are just based on the first 2 letters in the password. I'll go back to this just so that everybody has clarity, right? We're using the OO and up here in Google to get the capital O, the lowercase o. Then we're inflating those by 3 to get PQR, and then the lowercase r as well. So now I've got a password that has 2 symbols. It has uppercase and lowercase letters, numbers, and randomized upper and lowercase. Not really randomized, but based on a formula that somebody would have to know in order to understand why that's even there. So there's a lot of good randomization in this password, which is one of the keys to a strong password. And it's also got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 characters in the password. And most that's still on the what I would consider the low side of the most secure passwords, but it's still better than most people do with 6 or 8 characters. And because it has all of the types of characters on the keyboard in this, it actually passes most security checks on passwords with flying colors. So it's a great way of getting a secure password. And remember the formula. And all the formula is you commit 2 symbols to memory, you commit a 4-digit PIN to memory, and then you decide which characters you're going to use from the password. In this case, the second and third letter, and then what is your inflation number? You're going to inflate those characters by how many positions. So once you decide those 4 things, the special symbols, what position of the letters you're going to use, and what your numbers are, and what your inflation formula is, then you've got everything you need to create a unique password for every single site that you use on the web, and to remember the password for every single site on the web. So it really is a great tool. I can be anywhere, for passwords that I've used this way or that I've created this way. I can be anywhere on any computer, not have any access to, I don't have to have stuff written down and kept on a notepad or in a spiral notebook next to my computer, which is incredibly insecure. I don't have to have notes on my phone. I don't have to remember, or use the same password over and over and over again. This is completely unique. And it gets rid of things like this that I see still to this day all the time. Something like that. And that's just not secure. And I see it way too often. So if you think this is useful, then make sure you watch this video. You can share it with other people too if they think it might be, if it's something that other people need. Share it with your employees. Like I said, we have a requirement that everybody at least uses a password that's this secure and unique. But I will just show you while I'm on the screen. LastPass has this generate secure password method, and I can choose uppercase, lowercase, numbers and symbols, and how many characters I want. And these days, I've been leaving it set on 20. And then it gives me a password that's something like this. Now, this is truly randomized. There's no guessing that. There's just not. And it's completely unique for every single site. And because I save this password in a secure program like LastPass, I don't need to remember it. And LastPass works on my laptop. It works on my phone. It works on my iPad. It works on my desktop computer. I have it everywhere, and I can log into it securely and access it here. And that is actually even more secure than the password formula. But still, just for here we go, back to that.
So one of the things I want to add to this, if you like this formula, but you say, I want to make it a little bit more secure, one of the very first things you can do is add 4 more numbers.
That's true.
Add more numbers, add a different symbol, add a question mark on either end.
Just adding 3 symbols, just tripling the symbols on either end makes it more secure.
Yeah. So, anything that you can add and those kind of things, you just have to be careful that, don't add part of your social security number. Don't add, numbers that people have access to. Your phone number. Don't do your phone number. Don't do, there are things like that are big giveaways that people who hack go in first and find all the numbers associated with you, and that's what they use. So don't do that. Find a series of numbers that has no association with you when you put them in there.
So you might be wondering why your marketing company wants you to learn a secure password formula. Like, we're not a security or IT company. We're a web marketing company. Why do we care about this? And the reason is simple, because when we ask you for your, when we're working with your website and we need to get to your registrar where your domain is registered, like GoDaddy or whatever, and you give it to us and your password is, I'm using this because I just see it all the time. When you give us that, what it means is that somebody else is going to eventually guess that, and they're going to steal your domain name. And that creates a lot of work for me and for Fred and for other people on our team, your account manager, to try to see if we can get your domain name back from the guy who stole it because he guessed your password. And yes, it's happened. So the reason I'm so interested in teaching you a secure password formula is because I'm really just lazy and I don't like doing all that work every time somebody gets their domain name stolen. So please do me a favor and
give Carter an early Christmas gift.
Yes.
Go change all your passwords.
Please.
No, it's real. It is very, very important, and we try to remind people and let people know every year that these are very simple things that you can do Um, LastPass, RoboForm, I've used them both. I like them both. LastPass has a share deal, so we use that now because I can actually share a domain and password with somebody, but they don't ever see it. They see the domain, but they don't ever see the password that's associated with it. So I don't have to go change passwords. So I'm telling you, when you have people that are in your Facebook accounts and all that kind of stuff, and then every time they leave, you got to go make those changes, change passwords, do this, do that. It is a pain in the rear. So, we went to this, and that's why we're all in LastPass now. And because of that particular feature is a really, really good feature, and I'm really, really happy with that. So, there's reasons that we do the things we do, and there's reasons that we recommend what we recommend. And a lot of the times it's because we've had the same headaches and different things that we've seen happen, and we want to keep you guys from having those headaches, and we don't want to have them either. So that's a big part of it.